It has been reported that the Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is now ready to sign the rare earth mineral agreement. He has toned down his language, but is it enough? We're going to find out in this video. Let's first hear the details.
Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelenskyy trying to sort of tone down some of those differences right now, saying that he is very open and ready to sign that rare earth minerals deal that was supposed to be part of that Oval Office meeting. Like I said, he's recommitted to signing that deal, but he's also stressed Ukraine's gratitude to the United States, writing recently on social media, quote, "We understand the importance of America, and we are grateful for all the support we've received from the United States. There has not been a day when we haven't felt gratitude. What we need is peace, not endless war. And that's why we say security guarantees are the key to this." The White House team has so far refused to be part of any future security guarantees in Ukraine. But Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer unveiled a 4-step peace plan for Ukraine on Sunday, saying every nation must contribute. Early chatter of a peace deal emerging from Europe would involve a temporary 1-month truce. But as far as how soon that could come, Markey, that still remains very much unknown.
So if it is indeed true that there is a so-called peace plan from the UK Prime Minister, then good. What that shows is it took President Trump to get European countries to do their job. But let's not forget, President Trump, once again, is the only person who's been able to get Russia to the negotiation table, not Europe. Not the UK Prime Minister, right? And especially not under Biden. We all know that. Now, here is what Zelenskyy had to say this morning.
"We are not making any steps back. This is our policy to be consistent regardless of what happened before. We are constructive. If we agreed that a minerals deal with the US will be signed, from our side, we are ready to sign. I honestly think the United States will be ready as well. Maybe they need time to analyze some things."
Now, listen, I'm not a translator, but that doesn't sound like someone who's ready to sign right now in this moment. Because I didn't hear the direct words, "I am ready to sign the agreement right now. I'm trying to get on the phone with President Trump. We want to sign this agreement." I'm not hearing that. What I'm hearing is, well, I'll sign it if America's ready for me to sign it. And if they're not ready for me to sign it, I'm going to keep moving forward.
"If the President of the United States of America will invite me for a constructive dialogue, I represent the interests of a country that heavily depends on support from partners. So, of course, if I'm invited for a constructive dialogue for solving real problems, for serious questions and real resolute actions and answers, I will be there out of respect for America, American people, the president, and the two parties."
Ultimately, the way forward here is that somehow the Trump administration needs to drop the talking point of Zelenskyy resigning. Zelenskyy, I think, needs to let the dust settle and sign this deal if the Trump administration lets him. And I think they need European leaders to try and bridge this issue here. But without the reconciliation between the two presidents, Ukraine is still, I think, frankly, in very dangerous territory.
Now, when it comes to negotiation, I think everybody knows leverage is everything. In the United States of America, we hold the leverage, not Ukraine. This is why what happened on Friday is totally unnecessary. Everybody knows that. And what's also unnecessary is how Democrats have reacted as well. Because if they truly want peace, what they should be doing is supporting President Trump and applying pressure to Zelenskyy to get him back to the table and sign the agreement. However, I don't believe Zelenskyy is even in that mindset, because look at this post from President Trump just moments ago. He says this is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelenskyy, and America will not put up with it for much longer. It is what I was saying. This guy doesn't want there to be peace. As long as he has America's backing, and Europe, in the meeting they had with Zelenskyy, stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S., probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of showing of strength against Russia. What are they thinking? And he's reacting to the headline where Zelenskyy stated that the end of the war with Russia is very, very far away. And as a careful reminder that President Trump put up here, he says that the only president who gave none of Ukraine's land to Putin's Russia is President Donald J. Trump. Remember that when the weak and ineffective Democrats criticize and the fake news gladly puts out anything that they say. And we're going to get to that later in this video because you guys are going to be shocked by what they are saying. Now, what was said that got Zelensky's attention is from Senator Lindsey Graham when he called for Zelenskyy to resign Here is his reaction to that.
Can I just ask, you alluded to citizens of other nations. I mean, since the incident, Senator Lindsey Graham said that perhaps you should consider resigning. Speaker Mike Johnson today said that maybe you should consider resigning. Is your attitude it's not their business?
Lindsey
Graham
дуже хороший
is
хлопець, дуже правильний.
Lindsey Graham is a very good guy, a very
Говорити, хто повинен бути
very nice.
президентом, чи який
And speaking who must be the president
я
and
можу
whether I shall
надати йому
resign,
громадянство України.
I can
І він стане тоді
give him
громадянином
the
нашої
citizenship of
країни.
Ukraine.
І тоді
He will
почне
become
вже
the citizen of our country, and
тоді
then
його голос буде
and then
набирати
his
ваги.
voice will start to gain weight, and I will hear him as a citizen of Ukraine on the topic of who must be the president. But Lindsey represents the party that fights for democratic values, and anyway, the president of Ukraine will have to be chosen not at home, at Lindsey Graham's home, but in Ukraine.
And of course, Lindsey Graham responded on X. He said, unfortunately, until there is an election, no one has a voice in Ukraine. And that is actually a factual statement because all elections have been placed on hold since the war began. Now, here's what Speaker Mike Johnson also had to say.
Either he needs to come to his senses and come back to the table in gratitude, or someone else needs to lead the country to do that. I mean, it's up to the Ukrainians to figure that out. But I can tell you that we are re-exerting peace through strength. President Trump has brought back strength to the White House. We knew that this moment would come. We worked hard for it to come. And now it's here. But we need these parties to go along with this. And we need President Zelenskyy to do what is necessary. This war has drug on far too long. He's lost hundreds of thousands of people, including women and children. We've got to bring an end to it. And I think our European allies are hoping that that is the case, and we are as well.
Now, I know it. You know it. The Democratic Party, including European countries, are definitely not shy to criticize President Trump in all of this. They believe the way he's going about this is wrong. But what they're failing to realize is the reality of this entire situation. And I want to remind everybody who's watching this video what that actually looks like. Listen to the National Security Advisor break it down.
Time is not on his side. Time is not on the side of just forever continuing this conflict. The American people's patience is not unlimited. Their wallets are not unlimited. And our stockpiles and munitions are not unlimited that we need for all kinds of contingencies around the world. So the time to talk is now. And you know what we're hearing in terms of alternatives, whether it's the Democrats or leaders around the world, is essentially continuing this grinding World War I style trench warfare that is a meat grinder of people, munitions, and national treasure. The president campaigned on ending this war. He was elected to end this war. He will be the peacemaker in chief. But it was really confounding to us that Zelenskyy could have left the White House Friday, having the U.S. and Ukraine bound together economically for a generation. You have the British talking about troops on the ground and a security guarantee, the French talking about troops on the ground and security guarantee. We even had the NATO Secretary General talk to the president just before the Zelenskyy meeting. So this was no ambush. This was an opportunity and a moment. And I think President Zelenskyy truly did his country a real disservice by not having a positive outcome Friday. And, we'll see where things are going forward.
Now, whether you agree or disagree with the National Security Advisor, one thing that you can give him credit for is his professionalism, his tactfulness in describing what happened, what the reality is of this entire situation, and what needs to occur moving forward. If only we can get that same level of attitude from the Democrats, which we know we can't, because what they continue to do is allow someone like Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to speak for them. And this is what she had to say.
We know before the exchange, what was supposed to happen was there was going to be the signing of this preliminary mineral deal, at least, right? Aiming to end the war, but without Trump committing to any security guarantees. I mean, you say that peace should not have a price tag, but there are some Republicans, as you know, and the president claiming that, oh, you know what, America is being taken advantage of here. Is there a middle ground we can get to?
There's not a middle ground with this president. He has no intentions of doing right by, number one, the United States. I appreciate what the former governor was saying. We are in a national security crisis. We have been in a national security crisis ever since, honestly, before he even ran. We know that he had our national secrets stored at Mar-a-Lago. People felt like that wasn't really a big deal. They wanted to compare it to what was going on with Joe Biden. We know that he was showing this to people that maybe weren't supposed to see our national security secrets. We know that he is consistently engaged in questionable deals as it relates to our emoluments clause when he was in the first go round. Next thing you know, his son-in-law was getting a lot of money from the Saudis as soon as they walked out. And so right now, and not to mention, he has decided that his DOJ will not prosecute cases that engage in any type of foreign nefariousness when it comes to getting money.
Now, one of the things I hope for her political future is that the people in Texas do not reelect her and she gets a job on The View, because someone who speaks this way about the president of the United States, and a lot of it is based on nothing, right? It's just her own emotional triggers and Trump derangement, belongs on a show like that. That's just my own personal opinion. But let me address the baseless claim in the beginning there. And that is that point about Trump not committing to any security guarantees. It's interesting. You'd think with the level of education, degrees, their experience in corporate America, politics in DC, that would never come out of their mouth. You know why? By default, by signing this agreement, that is a security guarantee. Why would America allow Russia to negatively impact our investment? I mean, this is why they lack common sense.
So unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House. And as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House, because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
Okay, so the only thing to say to someone who speaks that way is, number one, she's still stuck in campaign mode. She sounds like she's still living in 2024, where they are so hyperbolic with their language because they believe they have to defeat Donald Trump. The problem is he's the president of the United States and he's going nowhere. So why not focus on governing and doing the job you were elected to do, which is not fight the president of the United States, but to actually create policies and bring solutions to the House floor for your constituents, which she hasn't done. She spends more time on mainstream media than she does in Congress trying to pass pieces of legislation. I think that tells you everything you need to know about someone like her. Now, let's circle back on the European nations and what the messaging is from mainstream media in regards to what they're planning to do.
The Europeans are doing it all, i.e. trying to come up with a peace plan and putting and pledging a coalition of the willing to put boots on the ground should there ever be a peace plan, and also to upspend money and finance to defend Ukraine. So all of that is happening overnight, as it's perceived here that the United States overnight has changed its alliances, essentially, and essentially coming this close to rupturing the transatlantic alliance and pivoting away from Pax Americana and towards Russia. And as Jeff just said, it was very notable what the Kremlin spokesman said, that everything that President Trump is now saying, as he said, Dmitry Peskov, aligns with our views. This is not a good thing for the Kremlin to say about the United States. And, you know, we have a major realignment in U.S. foreign policy at the same time as there's a major war being fought in Europe right now. So it's a very critical moment. As Starmer said, we're at a crossroads in history.
Now, clearly, they have a narrative to push. And the narrative is very simple. Donald Trump is bad. He's aligning with Russia. European countries are stepping up. They are going to be the heroes, and we're going to protect Ukraine, and we're going to keep fighting on. The bottom line to all of this is people with any level of common sense will see right through that, which is why I'm going to provide some receipts to show you. You know, it just wasn't long ago, before the crisis broke out, what the media had to say about Ukraine. As you could see on the left, they said, "Welcome to Ukraine, the most corrupt nation in Europe." Now, what do they say? The fight for Ukraine is a fight for liberal ideals. Got it. Here's another example. Ukraine's neo-Nazi problem. Oh, now it's for foreign fighters. Ukraine offers purpose, camaraderie, and a cause. Interesting. Vox says, quote, a Ukrainian comedian turned president is embroiled in Trump's impeachment mess. Wow. CNN, Ukrainians are giving 2 lessons in democracy that Americans have forgotten. These headlines are laughable, but it just shows you how quick they can change the narrative and try to program the American people to see something in a way that really isn't rooted in reality. And that's why this next clip is troubling, because it's getting to a point covering this story that it's really hard to know what is the actual truth here. And what's happening in this next clip is that it is being said that Zelenskyy actually already signed a mineral deal with the UK 3 days prior to the meeting with President Trump.
Kershaw, this is a battle of dueling narratives. You can go check it out. This is on the British UK website. It talks about this 100-year Ukraine and UK signed a 100-year deal over security guarantees and economic development. So what happened is that I believe President Trump and his team found out that they were being played. So this has become a set of dueling narratives. The BBC just said today there's massive protests here. Zach Andrews just said all the European leaders are behind Zelenskyy. We are being played. We, the United States, are trying to be signed up to a deal that we provide security guarantees to a economic development deal that Keir Starmer has already signed them up to do. So the first thing it has to do is people have to take a step back and be honest with what's really going on. And so I think what happened here, I don't know the details, it wasn't in that meeting, but Kershaw, the president was trying to play a straight line deal to sign an agreement with them over this mineral rights deal, knowing full well that the British had already signed on this 3 days before his inauguration. So where we go from here is both sides, if this is going to work, if the Europeans really want our help, they're going to have to take a step back and start being honest with the United States about what's really going on.
Now, here's an actual screenshot of the text inside the agreement that Rasmussen Reports put up on X, and it says it right there. Supporting development of a Ukrainian critical mineral strategy and necessary regulatory structures required to support the maximization of benefits from Ukraine's natural resources through the possible establishment of a joint working group. Now, the bottom line here is there is an agreement in some way, shape, or form between the UK and Ukraine in regards to the critical minerals. We do know that. That says it black and white right here. Okay, that's number one. Number two, another Ukrainian soldier was just killed. So in my whole point of view here is how long are we going to continue to drag this on, knowing we've never had an opportunity that we have now where Putin is willing to negotiate. He wasn't over the past 4 years. Now he is. So why are we jacking around politically here? Why do we have Democratic leaders inside the United States of America fighting President Trump on this? I just don't understand it. You want to fight him on Elon Musk and Doge? I get that. Why are you fighting him on ending a wasteful war? Please, somebody make that make sense. This is the question I would love for you guys to answer in the comment section below. Do you truly believe that Zelenskyy wants to sign this rare earth mineral agreement with the United States? Do you believe he wants to be tied economically to our country for a generation? Let me know what your thoughts are about all that in the comment section below. Now, last night, we dropped a video showing you the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, and his embarrassing interview with CNN, where he states that it's the Democrats who need to secure the border because President Trump has failed in that. Now, I don't know what year he's living in, but it's 2025, and there are additional stories you're going to want to hear. So if you're interested in that video, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.